Hello and welcome to You Ask For It.
Woohoo!
I'm Coach Myrna Young,
I'm Coach Dan Willms.
and we are going to answer your question today. Why do some people make it and others don't? It's a very good question. And we're going to have Coach Dan start off, and I will be the supporting person on this question.
Thank you. I love this question because we were just talking about it before we turned the camera on, that we came from very little and we were able to make it.
Yes.
And it's very interesting because many times in my days, back in the days, not a couple years ago, not too many, I wish, I remember looking around my life, my reality, and wondering if I would ever make it. Wondering if I would ever have a car, if I would ever live in a nice house, be able to go to college, and all of that.
Yes.
And nowadays, when I look around of my life and I see everything, my friends, my family, myself, and it's amazing that I was able to make it.
Yes.
The other day, I was teaching a class in Brazil, about 300 people, and somebody raised a hand and asked, Dan, why do you think you were able to make it? Or in other words, why do you think some people make and some don't? Right there, in front of all those people, I had to come up with an answer. That's when I remembered about dreaming, about believing, about taking the time to believe in myself, allowing myself to dream, even though it's difficult, it's tough, allowing myself to dream. That, I believe, is one of the main things that allow people to grow, to expand, and to achieve, because they allow themselves to dream. This is one thing. We have more. Let's hear from Myrna now.
Well, a lot of people dream. It's really interesting, but I'm originally from Guyana. Started off myself with very little, and Guyana is a very poor country, just like Brazil. Mm-hmm. Right? We're all third world countries, and in Guyana they focus on education. We follow the Oxford English system, and we focus on education. My father got his doctorate in his early 20s. So we focus on education to take us out of poverty. It's a very strict educational system. But I had dreams. Flight attendant.
Why does everybody in the third world country dreams about that? Because I did the same, and all my friends.
Yes, because we think that's
we could fly away.
I don't know what it is. So
we wanted to fly away, and we did.
To us, that's the best we can think of. Isn't that really amazing? I never thought of, well, I did at one point, and then I didn't know math very well to becoming a doctor, things like that. But yeah, we thought it was glamorous. You have to be pretty and all those type of things. So my goals were very low. But one of the things that I always had that made me make it is that you're right. I always projected better than what you are now. And that's basically all it takes. A lot of people, and you don't know how many, a lot of them. We were talking before about Napoleon Hill with his research that says 95% of people
had no clue.
Don't have no clue and don't want anything better. We live in America. America is one of the richest countries in the world. There is so much opportunity here. We can all be millionaires. The statistics show that there are like thousands of millionaires, new millionaires every year. While Africa, Brazil, Guyana, they're struggling, right? They don't even have the basic necessities. Actually, 95% of the world is like that. You talked about, being hungry when you were younger, right? And hunger has a way of making you want to eat. Yeah.
And you want to eat. The only thing you think is about eating.
It's eating. So it drives you to do I'm telling your story, but you talked about selling the popsicles, doing whatever you needed to do.
I was 9 and I was selling popsicles.
And you were selling popsicles because you needed to eat. So to me, though, I think that you have to want something better. It is a fundamental thing that you don't say, this is where I want to be. And statistics show that sometimes they have 3 generations living in the hood. Because the mother was in the hood, she got her children in the hood, and then the grandchildren come, and they all feel that this is the best they can do.
They belong
and
to
nobody.
They can't do any better.
And nobody makes that move to get out of it. So I think that I'm going to borrow to answer this question, I'm going to borrow from Tony Robbins that says that you not only dream, but you have to take massive action. That's the catalyst.
And what is this massive action?
Massive action is doing anything. Well, let me back up. To me, I've been told that you want that Mercedes, you start off by test driving it. You start off by ordering a brochure.
Yeah.
You start off, you know what I mean?
You cut off the brochure and stick on the wall.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Exactly.
Have you ever done it?
I've done that. I have put that Mercedes on my screensaver and looked at it every day. And I've actually gone to test drive it myself. But basically what he's saying is that you have to do something. If you want to go to school, go and look up schools. Go and research schools. Go and find out what time their classes are. You have to do something. But Tony takes it a little further. He says that you have to take massive action. And massive action is not just test driving it. Massive action is not just pasting the thing on your wall or whatever. Massive action is doing it. Massive action is getting out of your comfort zone and doing it. Now, I heard a story recently where the woman was crying because she said that she was mentoring this young lady that was doing 3 jobs. She had a goal to go in some foreign country, I think, and do her studies. Mm-hmm. And she told her, I'm getting chills, you can't see, but she told her that she need to get a 4th job in order to pay the passage and in order to get there. Now, this is an 18-year-old or a teenager that decides that she's going to do 4 jobs in order to get where she want to go. How many people like that? That's the drive. That's the passion. And she was crying when she said that. And she said to her, you know what I'm going to do? If you do this, I'm going to pay for your passage. You wouldn't have to get another 4th job in order to do it. And I will say without a shadow of a doubt, and you can go and look at all the successful people from, the athletes, the movie stars, most of them came from a very unfortunate beginning. Mm-hmm. And they had to drive to do something about it. Let's talk about I think is Harry Connick Jr., one of those singers that made it really big. You know what his massive action was? His massive action was driving across country, selling his CDs out of his car and living in his car.
Wow. Until
he got a big break. You got to do something. You have to want it badly enough, right?
It is very interesting because when we talk about when we talk about suffering and pain, I always think about Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl survived 6 concentration camps.
Yes.
At the end, he wrote so many books, and he wrote one of my favorite books, which is called The Man's Search for Meaning. And in the book, he makes it very clear: the pain will make you stronger.
Yes.
Suffering will not destroy you. No. It will make you. Yes. And when I look back in my life and I see all the pain that I had and all the suffering, believe me, I had way too many. Tired of it, but not anymore. I realized that it made me stronger.
It does.
And thank goodness I went through so much, because now I am the man I am.
Yes.
I have the strength I have because I went through that and I faced it and I was able to overcome. Before I forget, I believe one of the main things also for people to make it they have to know what they want. You know what? If you don't know what you want, anything will be good for you and nothing will be enough for you. But once you know what you want, once you truly know what's your purpose in life and what are your goals for the next year, for the next 2 years, the next 5 years, where are you going to be 5 years from today? Answer that question. Oh, but I don't know. Then stop everything you were doing and focus. How will your life be in 5 years from today?
Yes.
What kind of relationship? What kind of car? What kind of house? How are you going to be dressing? How are you going to be talking to people? Where are you going to be? In what part of the world are you going to be 5 years from today? If you ask me, I can detail you. I knew 5 years ago, I knew 10 years ago, and right now I am exactly where I wanted to be 5 years ago. And it's amazing when I talk to my closest friends. And the other day I had a friend from Brazil in my house, and we were sitting by the pool having a wine like all night long, and he was telling me, my goodness, you told me 5 years ago you were going to be doing this.
Yes.
And now you were doing. Have you ever seen?
Yes. Well, yeah, you always have to have goals, but you mentioned that study that Napoleon Hill did, and it's an interesting study because what he said is that 95% of people had no goals and didn't know where they want to be. But the difference,
what he said is they didn't have a clear plan,
right,
what they were going to do with their lives.
Exactly. Actually, you're right. And that's basically what I was trying to say. They didn't have a clear plan. But the interesting thing about that study is that when they went back and looked at it, the 5% of people that had a plan, even if when they did the research, they did something totally different, what they figured is when you strategically put a plan together in your head, it propels you towards success.
It gives you strength, yeah.
Right. But no, it sets you on a path to strategically planning your life, which is why the banks wouldn't give you any money unless you have a business plan. That business plan
That's
is
a
just...
good example.
Yeah, your business plan is just a wild guess. And I actually hated it when I was in sales, when before the year is your sales manager tells you to make a detailed plan. And I'm thinking, I'm just making it up. But what it does, it's important because if you think about where you want to go and you strategically say, this is how I'm going to get there, it does something with your brain and it sets it on the right path. The person that's just going to wing it every day is never going to be successful because their brain is not geared to strategic planning. And I love that, I say it all the time in my blogs about, Alice in Wonderland when she asked the Mad Hatter where she wants
to go. I thought about that when I said that.
Right. And she says, I don't know anywhere. And he says, if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter where you end up. And it's very true. And in coaching, that's what we teach. We teach clarity. You have to have clarity. And clarity is, a lot of people don't know their purpose. It's a big thing, people don't know their purpose. They don't understand why they're here. But once they found out their purpose and they have clarity about it, they would work towards it.
Yeah. So if you have to make a big summary about all of this, we would say the first one, they have to allow themselves to dream correctly.
Right.
Second one, they have to know where they are going to.
Right.
So they have to have a plan.
Right.
So let's start again. So the first one, they have to allow themselves to dream. The second one, they have to know where they are going to. The third one, they have to make a plan. The fourth one, they have to have clarity on that plan. What else?
Action. Like a big one.
Perfect, the big one. I forgot Tony Robbins, our neighbor. He lives close by.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So does Donald Trump.
Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep moving. So I think this is it, right?
Yes. So let's summarize. Let's really focus on what the question was. Why do some people make it and some people don't? The people that make it have a dream, they want to go somewhere, and they work every day towards it. It might take them 10 years, it might take them 20 years, it might take them even 50 years. People in their 70s are doing things that they dreamed about when they were a teenager, right? And they're now doing it. I love, and we're going to end with this, I love something I read about Kevin Hart. You know, they said that Kevin Hart is an overnight success because all of a sudden he's blown up and he's everywhere. And he made $85 million last year. You know what that overnight success, how long it took him? 19 years. Mm-hmm. Kevin Hart was one of these people that got rejected over and over again. But he kept working at it. He kept getting better and he kept doing it. And then all of a sudden, everywhere you go is Kevin Hart. Right.
Can I share something quickly? Mm-hmm. I had this very interesting story. I had a mentor in the US a couple of years ago, and his opinion was very important to me. And I wanted to create in my program the positive change. So I made everything, I made the material, and I drove to see him. And I showed him everything. I was very excited. And he looks at me and says, "Give it up.
Oh, wow.
It's not going to work It's cute, but it's not good. Go back to leadership." And I remember I looked at him. Of course, I wanted to slap him, but I controlled myself. I just said to myself, okay, I need a new mentor. Wow. And I remember I drove back home and I cried in my car. And when I was crying, that wasn't many years ago, just so you know. And while I was crying, I was thinking, this is the proof I needed that I am in the right direction. And right now, I have done over 118 workshops, both in the US and in Brazil, and thousands of people have changed their lives because of the positive change. Imagine if I had listened to him.
Yeah. I keep hearing that story over and over again recently, and I'm not sure why people do that. I hear it everywhere that a guidance counselor, somebody or someone else is telling people to give it up and that, you know, they should choose another career because that they're not good at that. Why do people say that? Even if they think it. I mean, they should not be saying that.
If somebody asks you a question about their dreams, if you don't think the dream is good enough, don't say that. And another thing is, if it's your dream, really, don't care about what people think, what people say, because there will be a lot of people to drag you down.
Yeah. Okay? I'm hearing that over and over again from school, you know, guidance counselors and schools and, you know, coaches and mentors. And it's such a terrible thing to do.
It is. We have to end.
Yes. Okay. Well, once again, we are so grateful that you tuned in to You Asked For It. I'm Coach Myrna Young.
I am Coach Dan Willms. If you have questions to us, please send us the questions. The links are below the video. And of course, if you like our series, share with your friends on Facebook. Subscribe to our channel, okay? See you next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.